All right, now let's check out some of the upsets that we saw on the road presented by Best Western. And to help us do that is College Gameday's very own Andraya Carter. Thanks for joining the show on this busy Saturday morning. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Sitting next to my Atlanta guy, Harry, of course.
That's right. We got a couple of Georgia folks there. Let's get into it. We got a lot of upsets in college basketball this year. A lot of them coming on the road, most notably Houston. Struggled last weekend against TCU, but they bounced back, got a win this week. How concerned should we be about the Cougars this year? And maybe what are realistic expectations in their first year in the Big 12?
Well, TCU is not an easy place to play. There's a reason TCU is undefeated at home. And for me, with Houston, I wouldn't be too terribly concerned. They've got 2 losses on the season, and they defend like crazy. The way that this Houston team defends, defense is something that travels eventually. Defense is always something you can hang your hat on. So I think for Houston, as they figure out their offense a little bit more, I wouldn't be concerned. I would be more concerned about a team that played no defense. They play defense, they play hard, they fly around, they've got a lot of speed, they don't have a ton of size, but right now is not a time to panic when it comes to Houston.
And, you know, speaking of teams that sometimes struggle with defense, Kentucky, they had a tough loss against A&M. When they've had success, where do they find that at? And what can slow them down come March? Because we've seen that this team is very talented when they decide they want to be.
Well, the success has come from their pace. The way that Kentucky drags the ball, whether it is off of a make, whether it's off of a miss, whether it's off a turnover, and they get it up the floor and score and attack. They put so much pressure on the, look at that, ball's out, 1 pass up ahead, 2 dribbles, and it's a finish on the other side of the rim. They have so much athleticism, skill, but they're very connected in transition. It's like they automatically know. I don't know how much Coach Cal worked on his transition this offseason, but it seems like that was the first thing they worked on because their eyes immediately, they find each other, they get the ball up the floor. So I think their pace is definitely what helps them have success early and what's been the key. Now, what could slow them down? Rebounding. Because you can't get the ball and kick it up ahead in your transition offense if you're giving up offensive rebounds when you're on defense. So finishing defensive possessions with a box out is going to be huge. That's what killed them in the first half against Texas A&M. They had a much better rebounding second half, but that first half, Texas A&M got so many second chance points. Texas A&M struggles shooting the ball at times, but when you give them opportunities to get second chance points and get offensive rebounds, now they're just getting more looks at the basket. So that offensive rebounding, finishing quality defensive possessions with a box out so Kentucky can get out and run. That's going to be the key down the stretch.
Great. Let's talk about your Tennessee Volunteers. We'll stick in the SEC here, but the road loss to Mississippi State last week. But I think they've locked in 2 wins since. Big one against Alabama today. I think that's going to be a really crucial one for them. When you look at this Tennessee team and what Rick Barnes has built there over the years inside Thompson Bowling Arena, the question has always been how far can they go in March, right? What do you make of this team? Because it kind of reminds me of like the Admiral Schofield, the Grant Williams type of teams that they've had.
Yeah, I think this team has potential. Dalton Knecht is phenomenal. The way that he is able to make difficult shots look easy and he finishes at the rim, looks like Tennessee looks for him all the time, which is a great thing because when he's hot, they continuously get him the ball. They feed the hot hand. They are always looking for Dalton Knecht, but sometimes it can be to a fault because when you're looking to him to make the play all the time, that puts so much pressure on him. 2 guys that have to be great for Tennessee, Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi. They have got to be great. They've got to be aggressive when it comes to offense. Zakai Ziegler, he's crafty with the ball in his hands. Adu's on the inside. You've got Dalton Knecht, who's that guy.
Right.
But I'm looking at Josiah Jordan-James and Santiago Vescovi to hit shots, to be aggressive, to get in the paint, and to create. If they can do that offensively, they've got a more collective unit. They've got more weapons on the offensive side. And again, they're a team that's going to hang their hat on defense. But the offense and those 2 guys being more aggressive is something that they're going to have if they want to make a stretch, if they want to get to a Final Four. They can't do it without production from those 2 guys.
And speaking of Final Four, I'm going to throw you a little wild card here. Maybe this team doesn't get to a Final Four, but who is a dark horse that you're looking at that you're like, okay, I see the flashes in this team. They can make a run.
Oh, I see the flashes in this team. They can make a run. Dark horse, meaning like what? Outside of unranked? Like
We'll go outside the top 10.
We go outside, yeah.
I feel like at that point you're a dark horse.
All right, okay. Outside of the top 10, I see flashes. I've seen flashes in Seton Hall.
Okay.
Flashes.
Yeah.
they would be a dark horse. They were
Okay.
able to make a run, make a push. I like their defense.
Yeah.
I'm high on defensive teams right
Yeah,
now. Because
yeah.
when you can lock up and you can make life difficult,
Yeah.
we just saw Connecticut do it against Creighton. When you can make life difficult on another team, that's hard. It's hard to go against. I think Seton Hall has one of the best defensive backcourts. They get in you, they put pressure on you. They don't always force a ton of turnovers, but they make life so hard on other guards. I like what I've seen from Seton Hall.
Well, you've said it too. Defense travels, and you will be traveling with College Game Day this year. Are you excited about it? Give me a
very
school that you would love to go to that maybe you haven't been to before.
Tennessee, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a school that I would love to go to. You know, I would love to go to, there's so many schools I would love to go to. I committed early, like in high school, I committed as a sophomore. So like I didn't take official visits. So there's still a ton of schools that I'm like, oh, I never got to see that school.
Yeah. Hey, pretty cold though, right? She committed as a sophomore. That's how you know she's damn good.
No, I'm just saying.
I'll say it for you.
No.
I can say it for you.
No, I'm just saying I didn't take any trips. I wish I would have taken some trips. But
Fair enough.
The jungle at Auburn, I was there a couple of years ago. That was a ton of fun. SEC schools. I want to go to Baylor.
Ooh, a little
That
Waco
new arena,
Yeah.
new arena that they have, that's where I want to go.
They got a in-state rivalry matchup today against Texas. They win. Who knows? Maybe that'll be
Texas would be a cool place to go.
that'll be interesting. All right, so that was the On the Road segment presented by Best Western. Andraya, thank you so much for joining us.